Oh no, that is what they all say when they see me pouring some more. Oh, think it's empty again. Better fill it up before I go. Cause I'm loving it, feeling it, touch me and being it. See what I see in it, I'm typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, let it all go. Oh Lord, think you know what I'm like, but you don't fall, you lose control. Bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. Oh boy, got so hot I forgot what I should have thought of before. Sure ain't easy for you to let go of the rules, cause there's so much fun. Are you loving the feeling it? Touch me, are you in it? Don't see what you're seeing, but typical. Messing around with it, mix it up, go with it, fuck with it, flow with it, please let it go. Oh no, think I did it again. I said a few things that I shouldn't have done. Well, bittersweet melody when I dance on your fly. Cause I know what you don't, it is me you adore. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your bed. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. Now come alive with me and quit the jealousy. I know you're bored, I know it's boring me. Now come alive, baby, get out the grave with me. I know you're bored. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How does it feel to breathe when you're dead? They never seen you out of your head. Cut to the bone, it's broken up. How sad.
Oh darling, if I had bought you flowers, would you still be here by my side? Yeah, I thought this moment could be ours, while I'm walking on you through the night.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome along to EML. We are here for round 9 of season 1 of the championship as we take in the Singapore Grand Prix from the Marina Bay Street Circuit. My name is James Hay, going to be taking you through the stream, as always, on these monthly occurrences. And joining me in the commentary box, pretty much once a month now, it is Mr. Daniel Huggard. Dan, how are you doing?
Thank you very much, James. Hello, everyone. Glad to see we are not racing at Yas Marina Bay on this occasion as we take the penultimate round of the first season of EML Premier. It's been a cracking season through and through, but at last it looks as though we are nearing the conclusion. Just 2 races to go. Singapore first and then Brazil in a month's time. But of course, we're going to take the present day race at Singapore. So, how are things looking? Well, I'll leave it to you, James, to run us through the standings, but it's a very intriguing one because for the first time this season, we could have a race where there's a very legitimate chance of that championship being wrapped up and decided today.
Yeah, Leonis leading the way on 271 points coming into tonight. 3 wins and 9 podiums consecutively to their name this season. Customs GT in second on 247. They are, I make it, 34 points behind Leonis coming into tonight with over 90 points available for sure. TTG in third on 217. FRL in fourth on 187. S2V in fifth on 166. Team Norway Racing in sixth. They're not fielding a team tonight on 142. F1 Friends Cup in 7th on 139. CPI in 8th on 45. IFR, another one not fielding the team tonight, in 9th on 24. And Spartans, who sadly left the league, they are in 10th on 22 points. And looking at those team standings, Dan, Leonis have been dominant, I think, so far in EML Premier. Customs GT in second, but they don't want to follow in the footsteps of their academy guys earlier on in League One because both of them, I think it was Zach and somebody else who I forget off the top of my head, both of them, though, DNF'd in League One. They do not want to be following in the same pattern as them.
They certainly don't. And Singapore, well, they of course have that DNS at Singapore. Singapore, incredibly difficult circuit, very technical, very long in terms of the race time. I believe it's the absolute longest on the calendar. Got 23 corners around the track as well. So it's insanely difficult to nail down a race round here. So certainly those Leonis guys, and the entire field for that matter, will be looking to keep it on the track, but there's more pressure on Leonis. They could have went into this round with one hand on the championship trophy, but they still have a fight on their hands because Customs had a cracking run through in Italy. They didn't win the race, but they had 2 cars within the top 4, and that let that gap close down by quite a bit. As you mentioned, 34 points going into this round of the championship. That's come down a fair bit from the Italian race a month ago. So certainly that's come down, and that championship battle is going to be what we're looking at. I think that, well, there are a couple of other teams that are mathematically still in the fight, but realistically it's between those 2. So we'll see how it goes then. As, at the moment, advantage Leonis, but CGT can certainly mount a challenge, and that's going to be very, very intriguing. The relative performance of those 2 teams at this event will determine how things stand heading into the final race in Brazil.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the drivers' lineup tonight as well, 2 teams not fielding a team out on track. TTG leading the way with Garassi, Benny and Klar. LR are represented with Amazing Hour, Harry Banks and Bjorn. IFR, as I say, not fielding a team. FRL Esports with Kazizzle, Sailu and Terra Racer. There's bound to be so many pronunciations of that name during tonight. TNR, of course, not fielding a team either. Esports Wales, debut season for them with Colin, Ivor Brunmike and Hooky going to be representing them. CPI have got Bullet Boy and Hede. STV Esports have got STV Academy Yosu and Fenny. Customs GT have got Mickey, Kraser and Yamaba. And F1 Friends Cup, another one that could probably throw me in terms of my pronunciations. Ayoseba, Ruben and Alberto. How's that for pronunciations?
For standards, not that bad, it must be said, although I can't really say much in that regard as well. But certainly that is going to be what these teams are fielding for tonight. That legendary Leonis pairing of Amazing Hour and Harry B going at it as well. So that's going to be fascinating to see how they go. Of course, they've had several double podium finishers. Kazizzle in action here tonight as well for FRL, and he won the last race in Italy after that epic 3-way fight over the race lead. You remember that moment into Parabolica, James? I certainly do. We'll hopefully have more of that as well. Jurazi for TDG, he finished on the podium last time out, as did CGT Cracer. For Customs Exilium, he is also racing here tonight. So the podium setters also there, and that certainly means we have an incredibly high quality grid for tonight, which is what we want to see. But even these incredibly strong drivers are going to be tested. Singapore is not a track for the faint-hearted, and you're going to see that in full force here tonight.
Yeah, 23 turns, of course, awaiting these guys out on track around the Marina Bay Street Circuit. Not Yas Marina Bay, as I said the last time we came here when I commentated alongside Dan in TTML Division 1. 5 kilometres inland, 3.1 miles to you and me, with the 3 DRS zones. 1 down the start finish straight, 1 down in towards turn 7, and 1 in towards the end of the middle sector at turn 14 as well. Plenty of corner names to look out for as well. Memorial Corner at turn 7, when they come past the Singapore Cricket Club, down in towards turn 10, the Singapore Sling, the Anderson Bridge down in towards turn 12. I think that divvies up my knowledge of the corners around here, certainly. And hopefully there's going to be a lot of overtaking opportunities, as I say, with those 3 DRS zones. It is quite a technical track. Are we going to get anything like Renault Gate in 2008, where somebody named by Nelson Piquet, of course, crashed out to benefit his teammate? Hopefully we don't see that here tonight, and we don't see a replica of that. And of course, speaking of replicas, we had 2 incidents last night in TTML Division 1. If you didn't watch that, go and watch it back after this has finished. But TTML Division 1, it was around China, very similar circuit to Singapore in terms of its length.
Every night. Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that bourbon. How'd I end up alone? I'm not certain. Girls impolite in the club every night. That's how it goes when you're Hollywood perfect. Hollywood perfect.
Welcome back, everyone. My apologies there. We did, unfortunately, lose James audio-wise. Hopefully, he can get back with us in a few seconds' time. We are slightly delayed in terms of the race, so do sit tight. We should be able to get things sorted out relatively quickly. But yes, all I can say is my apologies. So we have lost James for the time being, but we should be able to get him back in. So yes, we have of course ran through the status quo for tonight. 2 races to go here in EML Premier around this circuit, and well, lo and behold, we didn't have to wait long. James is back with us. James, hopefully everything's sorted out with the audio. How are you doing? Are you all good to go now?
I am all good to go. I really do not know what happened there. Said my PS4 had dropped the connection. Yeah, not that great, but that's the joys of home working, of course. But we are back in the lobby, and I'm sure we better get started very soon indeed for the action out on track. God, I thought I had a heart attack, literally. I thought, honestly, my internet had died, which it hasn't. So thank goodness.
Yes, I'm 5 for 1. I'm very relieved to have you back with us. I certainly couldn't carry this on my own, so it's good to have you here. And now, with that brief scare over, my heart rate elevated quite a bit through that. We can now look forward to the race. We are slightly delayed as it stands, but we should get going very, very soon. Of course, looking to try and take things on around Singapore. But something we've not touched on, James, is the qualifying session around this track. Of course, that's the first thing we're going to be seeing. We know how it runs, 18 minutes around this circuit, and it's going to be very intriguing to see how things unfold around here, because that 18-minute session, of course, not a lot of time to set laps because it's such a long circuit, but I think more important than anything is because of the tyre strategies in the race. There may be a lot of people that won't be going for pole, but going for P11, trying to get that free choice of tyre for the race, because starting on the softs at the front could be a big disadvantage strategy-wise.
Yeah, it really can, and there's 2 words that I like to say around here. DRS train. DRS train and very high tyre wear, of course, here at Singapore. Not given the nature of the length, but given the amount of corners around here out on track. So it's going to be interesting to see what tyre strategies we see. Certainly in qualifying, there was quite a few guys, actually, including Perpetuum, I think, that was out early on a set of medium compounded tyres. Lap times, you would imagine, going to be around the 1:32 mark, you would imagine, with these guys in EML Premier. But we are just 15 seconds away from getting going. 14 drivers, very disappointing turnout if I have to be honest, but we are about to get going here in towards qualifying at the Marina Bay Street Circuit in Singapore. And we cannot wait to bring you action, of course, here for round 9 of the championship. Season 1 of EML Premier could be crowning a champion here tonight in terms of the team standings. But under the night lights, we're about to go racing. So without further ado, let us get started and let us go into qualifying. Welcome along, everyone, to EML Season 1, Round 9 of the Championship here in EML Premier, as we take in the Singapore Grand Prix from the Marina Bay Street Circuit under the bright night lights here of Singapore. 3 compounded tyres are available to the guys out on track, the C5, C4 and C3 compounded tyres, the softs, mediums and the hards, to you and me. And it's going to be a very fascinating night's worth of action, of course. Myself, James Head, and Daniel Huggard taking you through the action as always. And we're about to have a look then at this track in question. 5 kilometres, 23 turns awaiting the guys with the 3 DRS zones. 1 down the start finish straight, 1 down in towards turn number 7, and then 1 down in towards turn 14. Quite an elevation change circuit as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this is all going to unfold out on track tonight. Nobody has left the pit lane just yet, and we're now in towards qualifying, but we can report it is dry.
It is certainly dry out there. For the moment, we do know, of course, how things can unfold. In terms of rain around this track, it is certainly possible, as we do get the name that I think myself and James will be very much struggling with joining the lobby there. So we should hopefully get between 15 and 16 drivers out there on the circuit, but now we'll try and get things kicked off, and it's going to be interesting because we have a lower turnout. It means that getting outside of the top 10 is going to be a bit more difficult. That could change the dynamic out there, but now of course we'll look for the first drivers out there on the track. A couple of new faces as well to tackle this circuit, so that's going to make things very, very intriguing. Colin Mason is the first driver to venture out onto the track, so let's see how this is going to unfold. So difficult around this circuit, because of course it's a street circuit, the walls are looming, grip is very low around here, and one tiny mistake could see you off, and both in qualifying and in the race. It's going to make the smallest of margins make the biggest differences around here.
Yeah, Colin first out on track. Kazizel, though, was past him out on track, and Kazizel, one of those guys, of course, who is representing FRL Esports here tonight. The Brit, well known within my commentary, certainly, that I've commentated on him for the last, I would say, 3 years now. That's how far I've literally known him in terms of commentary. But out on track, we're going to see how he is going to get on. And of course, the TAS system, of course, is operational as well. Coming across the Anderson Bridge as we ride on board then with Kazizel. Now coming through turn 13, a very tricky corner. I don't know what that camera angle is. As we now come down and towards turn 14 and towards the end of this middle sector out on track. Interesting to note as well, Yosu on my left-hand side of the screen looks like he's going to go for a set of medium compounded tyres. I'm not sure if anyone else is out there, Dan, on a set of mediums.
Let's have a look. I don't believe so. I think that, yeah, that is everyone that's actually currently out on the circuit is on the soft tyre. So we'll see how people are going to push forward with that tyre. But I think with the lower turnout, that maybe will be encouraging drivers to go for the soft a little bit more. But now we look towards it. Kazizel, of course, race winner at Monza, got a lot of pedigree, got a lot of talent. Let's see what he can do over the line. And as I say that, fellas, that first lap time is not going on the board, unfortunately.
Definitely not. Goodness me, he was into the pit lane coming around the final couple of corners there. Kazizel, goodness me, right on board though with Colin. He's just started up on a lap then as we right on board. Down in towards turn 3. I have a little mess up there with the UI, but now running down in towards turn number 4 and then in towards turn 5. With the I, the Singapore I, just off the left hand side. I wonder if it's going to be saying I out on track. We've started. Now down in towards turn 7, towards the end of the first sector. Collective groans from everyone now tuning in to the EML Premier. 26.2 through the first sector for Colin. Out on track. Amazing hours, 4/10 quicker than that. 25.8 through the first sector for him. He's the man out on track, and Harry Banks 25.9 through the first sector as well. Colin now coming down in towards the Singapore Sling at turn 10. Used to be a chicane. Reprofiled, of course, the circuit. Now through turn 11. Might have just invalidated there on his lap, and he has indeed invalidated on his lap. He's backed off as he now comes in towards the hairpin, and that is his lap over and done with as well. We'll pick him on board, though, with Amazing Hour, an Amazing Hour on a lap, and he's running down now in towards turn 14 and be hoping for a very good middle sector here. His first sector was quite good in terms of pace, and again 35.7 in this middle sector. So the Leonis man with Harry Banks just behind him as well, out on track, and Amazing now coming through in towards 16, runs wide down in towards 17, and he has just picked up an invalidation coming through there as well. What is it with drivers and invalidations tonight?
Well, it's certainly a difficult track to keep it on the track. That's certainly what we're seeing so far. Also, I do need to correct you, James. It's the Singapore Flyer, not the Singapore Eye. So just make sure we are 100% accurate and up to date on all of our streams then. Looking, though, towards other lap times out there. Harry Banks has come over the line. Again, invalid. Looks to be invalid then. So now we have S2V very friendly a lap time. It's a 1:33.5 for the S2V Academy man. So he opens up the timings. Expect maybe not a massive influx of times then, because people do seem to be struggling, and to be fair, it can be quite difficult to put the lads together to hook it all up. Then has there been an incident down there? What's going on the track, James?
Yeah, Singapore Sling, Hide was just on board with them, fastest in the first sector, 29.2. He has just went into the wall, completely outbraked himself, and down in towards turn 10, right side end plate damage on the car, and that is not going to suit the sole man for CPI out on track whatsoever.
Certainly not then, and of course, yeah, you can see riding on board then, very visible end plate damage, but it does mean just one lap is compromised, but it's not a disaster as it would be in the race. You can certainly get that all sorted out as soon as you possibly can out there on the circuit. We'll see, of course, we should have a few more lap times to come in then. However, Mike's come over the line is a few seconds slower though than the top time at the moment of S2V Finney for the time being, but as I actually saw Jurazi going off then, that's at the Anderson Bridge then, and that is a TTG driver out of the running and qualifying, his teammate Benny going through, and you can see there just stranded there. He must have clipped the wall in the entry. He's gone off then, and the man who drove so brilliantly at Monza now out of the way, and for a team in a championship fight for P3, maybe even P2 as TTG are. That's a disaster. Jurazi, we force a start from the back, and barring any miracle, he's going to have a lot of work to do come the race. Worst case scenario for TTG, that's a lot of time they've got to recover now.
Yeah, he picked up an invalidation just before that as well, did Garassi. We couldn't catch it on the cameras, I'm afraid. Benny's on a lap time, though, coming through. He's invalid through the middle sector. Plenty of invalidations, only 3 lap times in. One of them, you would argue, is only competitive, and that's Fenny, 1:33.5. Ruben and Iverbryn Mike are off the pace in second and third, but they have got lap times on the board, which is crucial around here in Singapore. Kraser is now coming through the final couple of corners, but he again is invalid on a lap. Yosu and Mickey, however, are on laps, and Mickey, I believe, is on a lap as well as Yosu. Yosu, I think, might just be furthest on. Yeah, Mickey just coming out through the first sector. I'm not sure why we're showing him as a green middle sector, unless he was invalid. Yosu now coming through into the final couple of corners, but he's got left side end plate damage on the car, has Yosu, and he might be trooping his way into the pit. They know he's looking valid, and he is going to go for a lap time. Comes around the final corner, and it's a 1:38.8 on a set of medium compound tyres. I swear they were on a set of softs when he came past my screen.
Well, that lap time, of course, not particularly representative from Yosu. Expect him to go much quicker when he gets some softer tyres on and a fully functional front wing. And has been relatively quiet, it must be said, in general around this session. I'm seeing more validations. In fact, I've seen 2 drivers already pick up validations. Mickey has got one, and also Joseba has also got one on the track as well. Conor Mason is out there though for Esports Wales. Let's see what he can do then as he hits the brakes heading into turn turn 8, then getting stopped turns in through the exit, full down now towards turn 9, then try and use as much of the track on the entry and exit as you can. A little bit of oversteer, just about holds on to it. The front wing remaining intact now to the Singapore sling then. A little bit of a lock-up on the left front, gathers it back up for turn 11 then, and then turn 12 through under the Anderson Bridge. He's going to try and keep it clean, avoid that wall, and don't go into it like Jirazi did. Just about keeps it clean through the hairpin and clean through the exit as well. DRS is open now for the third time with a lap, heading on up towards turn 14 in the third sector. It's getting out up towards the apex. A little lock up again, makes the apex though. Now into this very technical, very slow into the lap then, and towards turn 16, 17. Got to be careful of traction here. Little brush against the wall, but I think he's just about going away with it as he ends underneath the grandstand towards the end of the lap. Now 20, 21. Watch the wall on the exit, then you drift it away, gets millimeters away from it, keeps it clean. Corner Mason to the final corners now, and he sees out the flying lap then, goes second, a good lap on a 33.9. Times though very spread out for them with Vanny's lap still on top. I think there's more potential in the session, but 9 minutes in, only 5 drivers on the lap time and a 5-second difference. This is unlike anything. Singapore usually brings a big field spread, but this is unlike anything we've seen before, James.
Yeah, and these guys obviously have got so much room out on track to try and get their laps in. That might be just putting added pressure actually on these guys to try and deliver on a lap. Yoseba has just started up on a lap as well, and he's through the first sector, 26.4, and he wrestles the car coming out of Memorial Corner at 7, now through turn 8, and then in towards turn number 9. A F1 Friends Cup, of course, represented by both him and Ruben Teve, and again, fighting the car. Goodness me, he's like fighting a lion out on track at this stage, and Yoseba now coming through in towards the Anderson Bridge section. Hate to think what he's going to be like coming out of this hairpin, to be honest. They're coming through turn 13, and nicely controlled actually through the hairpin. Makes me eat my own words, certainly. And Yoseba now comes through the end of the middle sector, 36.7 through the middle sector. Headey's just picked up an invalidation out on track as well. Amazing Hour has just started up on a lap, and Kazizel's quickest in the first sector, 26 flat at the stage. We'll run on board with him very shortly indeed, but we're still on board with Yoseba. 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go, more than halfway through qualifying here in EML Premier. Fenny leading, Colin Mason in second, and Ivan Mike in third. Ruben and Yossi the only other times to be set, as now Yoseba, I think, is going to go third with this lap time. Comes through the final corner. Literally say that. The invalidates coming through turn 22. Terrible.
We literally cannot catch a break in terms of the commentary, and these drivers cannot catch a break in terms of the lap times on track then. But as I was saying, Kazesu going very quickly in the first sector, he's invalidated on the medium tyres, so he's not going to be able to get that lap time in either. Is there anyone that's stepping up? I'm seeing TTG Venny. He's also invalidated. What on earth is going on here? I mean, I know it is an amazing hour. It's coming over the line now to get a lap time kicked off. So let's watch the Australian medium tyres, interestingly enough. So let's see what he can do then. Looking up towards turn 1 then. Very, very aggressive on the entry and just keeps it within the track limits at through Shear's corner as Fenny goes a little bit quicker. 3/10 up in his previous time. 33.2 is the mark to beat now. As Amazing Hour now through the end of the first sector. Look very hooked up then. Right against the track limits. Just about keeps it clean. Amazing Hour towards the middle sector of the London. 25 is very quick on medium tyres. And again clean heading through Memorial Corner onto the brakes towards turn 8, locks up, makes the apex from first to third gear, short shifting turn 9, getting right up against the white line. He is on the absolute limit. Here's Amazing Hour. Now, towards the Singapore sling, flicking in then, over the curb, keeps it nice and clean then. Now Housie through turn 11, flying with the curbs, flying with the track limits again, he gets away with a bang oversteer, holds it together, under the Anderson Bridge, just about, and again a slide into the hairpin, but still, he is remaining in the right direction. Middle sector then, 101 up 8, and a 35.9 through the middle, quick again from Amazing Hour. That's going to put him well inside, maybe even on the front row as it stands there on mediums. That is going to be a big psychological advantage, but he's still got a job to do. Big oversteer on a turn 17 again, just holds on to it. The margins, the limits have been pressed all the way through this lap. That is Amazing Hour. Preds it all then through turn 21, again up against the wall. Then as High Banks has gone second on a 33.7. His teammate Amazing Hour to the line, 33.3. That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. And Leonis on medium tyres have stepped up to the plate. They have made their mark, and with neither CGT driver on the board, that's a lot of room to do. CGT with no lap times, amazing error on Harry Banks with brilliant lap times on the mediums.
Ooh.
That's a long to go, and I'd have to say at this stage, with just 5 minutes to go, advantage Leon and CG with work to do.
Benny invalidates coming out through turn 14. I was literally about to cut in and just say he was on an absolute fly of a lap. He was actually dead level with Amazing Hour's middle sector. Benny, though, invalidates coming out of turn 13, turn 14 even, just after the end of the middle sector. He ran too wide, and that is him picking up invalidation as well, out on track. Hede is also out there, out on track, but he's invalidated, and he is now coming through in towards 17 and 18. Not many drivers on laps over Bryn. Mike is improving on a lap time. He's in 5th, comes across the line 35.3. He didn't improve, I don't think, on that lap, even though it shows to me as if he set green personal best 1st, 2nd and 3rd sectors. So I'll run the TAS on that one after Bryn Mike improved. 5th position, 35.3, out on track. But Fenny out on top. Amazing hour, though. An amazing performance early on. 33.3. If he was to go on to a set of soft compounded tyres, which he might be entitled to do, but given the tyre wear around here, it might not be actually necessary. Amazing hours, 500ths of a second off on Fenny. If he goes on to a set of soft compounded tyres, he's going to be quickest by, I would say, a good 8/10 of a second at least.
Yes, certainly, but of course the question is, will he want to do it? Because of course there's some strategic advantages. Jesus, oh my word, that's a poor showing for me there. But that can be offered by going on the medium compound. You can't make a one-stop work on the soft side. Soft to hard strategy is possible, but it's certainly not the quickest way of completing the 31 lap Grand Prix. So that's a lot to be seen there. As I'm watching you say, wow, big oversteer through turn 9, just about keeps it on the road. And I think his teammate Mickey, sorry, not his teammate Mickey, but Mickey has come over the line to come through with a 34 flat on the mediums. A few tenths down on Harry Banks' time for the moment, but he did have an extra lap on it. But this is quite simply a qualifying session unlike anything I've ever seen. Just 2.5 minutes to go. You should be getting down to crunch time, but only 8 laps on the board out of the 15 drivers. Very unusual here. Are we even going to get 10 laps in at this rate?
I don't think we are. Yoseb is currently ballad on a lap, but he's way down in that middle sector, 36.6, 26.3 in the first sector as well. But Yoseba on a lap. He is now coming through turn 19, then in towards 20 and 21, just underneath the underpass. As he now comes through in towards 22 and 23. Could have came into the pit lane actually, but I don't think he would have got out in time. This is his final run. I think Yoseba now comes across the line, and he goes 6th, just ahead of Ivan Bryn Mike by a 10th of a second, at 35.2, out on track. Mickey, by the way, came in for CGT. He went 5th with a 34 flat. We might see a bit of a timing glitch in terms of qualifying. We did join the session a little earlier, so just all that caveat out there. It might be 30 seconds. It might be, obviously, within a minute and 35 seconds to go. It might actually be about 2 minutes for these guys out on track. So they might just get extra time out on track compared to what you guys are seeing as the viewers out on track, which I think for the drivers wouldn't be too bad. But I know Colin Mason is out on a lap, and he's coming in towards the first sector. He is going to be the man to watch on this lap time. The Welshman, of course, representing Esports Ways. He's got a car just in front of him, out on track. It's a 26.1, and that was Yosu, I think, on an outlap, if I'm not mistaken, getting out of the way.
Yeah, it certainly was, and he darts out of the way, realising that he was holding him up there. I don't think it cost Colin too much time, but he's been disqualified in the escape route then, so he's trying to reverse back onto the track, but he's got himself disqualified in the process, and that is gutted. You can see it is out of the session, relegated down the order, so Yosu now out of the running altogether, qualifying, gutting for him. But then we have to look on towards the other drivers setting up for their laps, as now Colin R. Mason is slightly down in the middle sector, so he's going to try and find a bit more time in the last sector to put himself further up the order. The Leonis guys have gone out on the soft tyres, as have quite a few others, but a lot of the guys outside the top 10, such as Kuzetsu, are opting for the mediums at this stage then. If they can get the top 10 on mediums, that is a very, very strong position for them. But we'll watch Colin now, heading throughout the rest of the lap then. Time about to expire, then he's right up against the wall through turn 21, attacking in turn 22. The car holds, he crosses the line, he improves, but he remains in 4th position behind Harry Banks. So the Leonis guy is in such a powerful spot at this point. Fenny's still on pole, he's been on pole for virtually the entire session. Now, the time's expired. Now we'll see the last lap times in. Can anyone stop Benny? Can anyone challenge that provisional pole?
Kazizel's on a very good lap. He's just invalidated coming out of 22. I can't believe it. He was on for an absolutely cracker of a lap. He was 2/10 quicker than Benny in that middle sector. Benny's also invalidated. I think he might get extra time, and we have got that timing glitch, of course, out on track. So these guys are now coming across the line to what will be their final laps out on track. That graphics glitch is there, it's true, and we are about 35-40 seconds possibly ahead of time. Benny is just starting up on a lap. Kazizel has got one more crack at this, but he's invalidated and he is not going to be improving out on track. Hide out on track as well. He's now coming through the final couple of corners. 37.1 in the middle sector as Fenny goes quickest for the 32.9. Wonder what Amazing Hour and the likes of Harry Banks is doing. Amazing Hour is invalid coming through the end of the first sector. Harry Banks 25.8 through the first sector. Hide goes into 8th with a 35.6. We're right on board with Harry Banks then. He's got slip off Sailu just in front of him out on track, and I wonder if these two are actually on both lap times together. He doesn't even realise. And Harry Banks trying to go all the way around the outside. This is something that you never see in qualifying, and that is just absolutely ridiculous. Sailu, I don't know what on earth either of them were thinking. Harry Banks on a very valid lap out on track. Sailu, I think, it just came out on an out lap, if I'm not mistaken, and his car, although he's crossed the line, I think he was still in control of that car. That is absolutely ridiculous. It's something that I've never seen before in EML Premier, that's for certain.
That is very, very unusual. I have no idea what's happened throughout this entire qualifying session. Have we got anything more? Well, both the Leonis guys have gone up their laps then. TTG Benny is on a lap time for the moment, and for TTG then on the medium tires right up against the wall again. These guys still pushing the envelope towards the end of the session. Crosses the line, goes third. Great lap to put himself up alongside Amazing Hour. Iverman may cross the line. He backs off that lap. To the line will start 9th. A very unusual qualifying session in the books at the grid set for the race. And wow, that was 18 minutes unlike anything I've ever seen before. We saw incidents out on track. We saw an abundance of invalidations. Only 11 lap times on the board. This promises a very different situation in front of the race.
Top 10, 5 of them on a set of mediums, 5 of them on a set of softs. Fenny out on top, set of softs, 32.9, out on track. Amazing Hour second, Benny third and Harry Banks in fourth. They're all on a set of mediums. Colin in fifth on a set of softs. Fraser and Mickey, the two Spaniards for CGT, 6th and 7th on a set of mediums. Yaseba, Ivor, Bryn, Mike and Hide, 8th, 9th and 10th on the set of softs. Ruben will get a free choice of tyre, as will Garassi, Kazizel, Sailu. I'm not sure if there was a glitch or something, possibly with them. Yosu in 15th position. But goodness, we won't end that qualifying session. Whatever happened there, I think, with Harry Banks, it looks like he got spun. But I wonder, actually, he's just typing in the Discord, so there is going to be a bit of reaction to this. It looks to me as if they can see each other. Obviously, he's joined, I think, 2 or 3 times in qualifying, which might make it invisible for the guys out on track if he has joined late. So there might have been that element of desync, possibly. But regardless of the fact, one of the weirdest things I think I've ever seen in any qualifying session.
Certainly, and I wonder how things are going to carry over to the race. Of course, all these drivers now out on track together and looking to try and go at it over 31 laps. It's going to be a grueling race. There is no doubt about that. So we'll see how things are going to unfold. Wasn't the best qualifying session for Customs GTA. Very strong qualifying session for Leonis. So they're put in the driving seat in terms of the championship standings. Of course, I believe they lead by, is it 34 points in the championship? There are 47 points on offer after this round. So, of course, by just rules of maths, they need to outscore them by 13 points. I am not quite out of school. I can still put 2 and 2 together. But yes, we now look towards the race. That's going to be fascinating to see how things will unfold then, and also see the strategies, because it's very unusual. Usually you see most of the drivers, if not all the drivers, inside the top 10 on that set of soft tyres. But because of that situation we've had, every half and half between the medium and the soft runners makes things very, very intriguing. Outside the top 10, bit of a split. 2 drivers on the mediums, 3 drivers on the hards, James.
Yeah, very interesting indeed, and there of course are the strategies being shown. Garasi, Kazizel and Sailu on a set of hard Commentators, Yosu on a set of mediums along with Ruben in that bottom half of the field. You would imagine that Garasi, Kazizel and the FRL man out on track will be going on a set of hard Commentators nearly towards the end of the race. I will say this now, I have seen a strategy done on a set of hard Commentators where drivers last 29 laps on a set of hard compounded tyres. It was done in TTML Division 1, or one of the divisions last season if I'm not mistaken. And it is possible, if you've got really good tyre wear around here, the hards only go off about 3% a lap. On a set of softs they go out about 6% a lap. So you can see the tyre difference, you can see the strategies that they've gone for. I think Garasi, Kazizel and Sailu, but I think are on the correct strategy, possibly, for later on in the race.
Well, of course, that could play into any range, depending on the factors that are brought into consideration. You can get damaged very early on. Safety cars can either benefit you or hurt you, and that is the nature of league racing on F1 2020. So expect the unexpected, especially around Singapore. And also going to be interesting up near the front, because of course you have those three drivers, amazing ever, Benny, Harry Banks, brilliant laps on the mediums in qualifying. They are going to be struggling in the opening laps. Fenny and the likes of Conor Mason will be looking to gain places. Those customs guys in 6th and 7th have a decent start point for the race, but they're going to have to look out for Eusebio, Alfred and Mike, Hitty. Soft tyres going to be coming at them. But Fenny, of course, his objective is to go, get the perfect start, lead and bolt off into the distance in the opening laps before those tyres start going off. That's going to give him the best chance of holding off the charges. Oh, amazing Benny, Harry Banks and the likes behind. But of course, the race could go any which way then. So many different possibilities, and down in the back of the field then it's a spinner out there. The ribbon's gone off then. He won't get damage on the formation lap, but that's it. His race now in a bit of a compromisation. He'll get back going again. It's up at the front now. Fenny does get to the grid. Amazing hour alongside him. Who's going to lead into turn one? Who's going to lead throughout the first stint then? As the first drivers line up on the grid. Take it away, James. Who's going to win that battle at the start?
Oh, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I think Amazing Owl might just have this off the start, you know. He's on the cleaner side of the grid. Fenny's on the outside line where all the marbles will be. Ruben is just joining up into position after he dropped it. The back end coming through turn 19. Just a pure loss of power, it seemed, on the rear end. And that means as the 5 red lights are about to go out, don't worry, we are going to get the 5 red lights glitch as per usual. And we are about to get going very soon indeed for round 9 of the championship here in EML Premier, and it is lights out and away we go. Fenny gets a very good start. Amazing Hour gets a good start as well. He'll cover across onto Benny, and Amazing Hour stays second. Benny in third, but Fenny leads the way. Fenny and Benny. It's like Nathan's and League of Europe. Fenny leading the way. Amazing Hour second. Benny in third with Harry Banks in fourth, and Harry's already up to fourth, fighting side by side with Fraser. Kazizel further down the field going side by side as well with Ivan Mike. A little bit of a pinch point effect as we come through now. The end of the first sector, but Fenny leads the way. Amazing Hour second, side by side though. Harry Banks and Crazer still not giving up the position as Crazer on the outside line, and he just about hangs on. Good stuff there by the CGT man, and he's through on the LR man. He's up into fourth position, but Fenny leading the way on a set of soft compounded tyres, on a worn set of soft compounded tyres, not really getting away from Amazing Hour.
Yeah, still I got well under a second. A great start though from Crazer up 2 at the start and getting in front critically of Harry Banks and trying to keep that CDG team, that dream alive for those guys. And so he runs fourth. Harry B behind him and P5. He is splitting those two CGT drivers. Colin Mason, Jose Bahedi, they all sit behind in 7th, 8th and 9th positions respectively. Then Ivan Mikes had trouble at the start and he drops down into 12th place on the road, down 3 places at the moment. He's sat out behind Kazeso, who is the second highest of the yard runners. Urazi leads that then as they all run in formation throughout then. Just to run through, I'm looking at it. Player 3 has broken their wing.
Benny
I believe that's Benny. So yeah, Benny running well. But it's Hitty. Hitty off then. Heading into the grandstand in a disastrous run then. Now he's going to have to try and recover to the pit lead. Benny now having issues. It's a chaotic first lap. Benny with damage. We had several drivers gaining, several drivers losing, but Benny did damage correctly. Henny's going to have to come in and get that repaired. ASAP, he is into the pit lane now. It's up at the front. Benny leads Amazing Hour. Amazing Hour running comfortably with him, and because of that damage, as minor as it may be for Benny, it's going to present Creaser, Harry, Banks, and Mickey a great chance of getting through. The TTG man is going to be seriously strained to keep hold of that third place.
Yeah, Benny in third with 12% damage. It's light green damage out on track, but it is losing him the time to Amazing Hour. Crazy riding behind as well, and these guys have got to be held up in a big DRS train, it seems, as well. But Benny holding up Crazy through this middle sector is where Crazy is going to be quicker. He needs to try and get past as soon as possible, but he doesn't have to force the move to try and get past. Speaking of trying to get past, Amazing Hours right on the back of Fenny for the lead of the race. It's about 0.5 of a second coming across the Anderson Bridge for the second time. The LR man right on the back of the S2V Academy driver, but Fenny leading the way from Amazing Hour in second. Benny in third, of course. Fenny representing S2V Esports. LR, of course, represented by Amazing Hour. Benny in third with that 12% damage. Not really using as much time as what we would have hoped to Amazing Hour. It's 1.3 seconds hovering around that stage at the minute. Crazy there in fourth with Harry Banks in fifth. Looking at the position gains early on as well. 3 positions gained for Garassi and Kazizel up 3. Crazy up 2. Mickey, Sailu and Yosu all on 1 position gains respectively. 5 positions off for Hiddy. He went into the wall and he's just caused a VSC. Out on track, and Benny straight into the pit lane to repair that front wing.
Yeah, he's taking that opportunity, and Henny, though, 2 incidents in, he's had a nightmare. Now, of course, Benny towards the pit lane, and it's a slow pit lane, it's only 60 kilometers an hour. Colin Mason has decided to go in as well, but Henny out of the running, the VSC deployed then, neutralising the race for the time being, as DRS was just going to get activated. That is going to save Benny's race lead, I believe, up at the front, unless Amazing Hour times the restart to perfection. The Colin Mason and Benny going in, interestingly enough. The Benny did get held, of course, he had to change that front wing, remember. So now he goes in, and interestingly enough, for both of these guys, hard compound nut tyres. Now, you mentioned that TTML race, going 29 laps, that's what these guys are going to try and accomplish then to the line. They're going to be stretched to the limit, but it's not impossible. So that's going to be fascinating to hold. Colin Mason and Benny, if this strategy works, it could work wonders for them, but they've got to try and keep their head down, they've got to manage those tyres, because of course, it's a high risk, high reward strategy, the risk being puncture territory at the end of the race.
Yeah, Hiddy's front left, by the way, was the tyre that came off the car, causing that VSC and causing, of course, that yellow flag out on track. Amazing Hour were already at the switchover period between the tyres. Softs and mediums really do not last around here, the softs. Amazing Hour's right all over the back. He's literally just sitting waiting in behind, waiting for Fenny to either come into the pit lane or to make a mistake. You normally see on a set of softs happen from around lap 4 around here. Crazy is 1.6 seconds off. He's in clear air. Harry Banks in 4th. I know Black Phoenix was mentioned. That was his Hiddy's first race without a line running out on track. Very good effort, I've got to say, from Hiddy, of course. DNFing, though, out of the race and not scoring any points for CPI. Amazing Hour, though, right on the back of Fenny. 3/10 of a second as we now come across the line to start lap 4. Fenny leading the way. Amazing Hours in second. To be honest, it just looks like a one-man show at this stage. Amazing Hour, of course, a lot of lag with him being in Australia, with him being 6 o'clock in the morning, I think, over there. He is now right on the back of Fenny and looking to try and get the move done. Garassi's right on the back of Yosaber as well. Further down the field, we'll come to that in just a second, but now Amazing Hour is going to absolutely sail on by Fenny. Fenny is a non-existent leader of the race now, as Amazing Hour is through. The LR man is through on the STV man, and look at how much he's pulled away already. 0.5 of a second as Garassi goes up by side with Yosaber, running down towards Memorial Corner. Yosaber forced out wide. Look at Gazizel in the background as well. Garassi now trying to go all the way around the outside on a set of hard compounded tyres. Very impressive stuff. He would have got the move done, I think, anyways, if it wasn't for that contact. Garassi is through. Yosaber drops down positions. Those softs are absolutely shot out on track.
Grip fading from the Red Bull tyres then, and that allows Garassi Kazizel through then, and critically Amazing Hour to the leader of the race. He was being reeled in by Creaser, being sat behind. Not anymore. Now he has that buffer then. Creaser has got to try and follow through and behind now. Looks though in particular Yosaber is struggling, but over from Mike behind has got under even more pressure. It's driven Timmy to the inside line in a ton of 14 brings finally. There's contact! There's contact between them, and now around the outside. Taylor's going to take full advantage. He slows to the 9th place then, as Ribbon does maintain position in front of Ivan and Mike, but they came together, they got away without damage. Ribbon sent it late on the brakes, Ivan Mike look for the switchback, right into the back, he's going into the wall! He's in the wall in a turn 18! Onto the grandstand, so Ivan Mike now gonna try and come in there, and this ESW have had a nightmare so far. Colin Armace is gonna try and salvage it with a strategy. Looks like that's what Ivan Mike is gonna have to do as well. To the pit lane he goes as well. So Mike is diving in. Let's see where he emerges. Let's see what the strategy is going to be. Let's see how far through he can fight then as he heads down the pit lane now. Do we have any racing up the road that Cruiser tries to chase out Benny? The maneuver doesn't come through just yet then, as Mike does fit the hard compound tire. So they are going to slope themselves onto the SW car, now looking for the recovery. But Mike and Mason and Benny has got past Mason and now running comfortably in 11th. So he's going to try and make that strategy work. Pace doesn't look too bad at the moment then. Currently running in the low 39s and matching as some of the race leaders on the medium. So that's good pace for Benny if he keeps that up then. Going to try and keep that moving though, because of course as that issue, if he pushes too hard, takes too much out of the tires, he'll be a sitting duck at the end of the race. He's got to manage there, he's got to hope he gets lucky as well.
Crazy using up the overtake on the back of Fenny, trying to get the move done down and towards turn 14, not close enough. Yosaber and Silu. That's a mouthful to say. There's the yellow flag in sector 1. I think that might have been Five Broom Mike just coming out the pit lane. Silu will right on the back of Yosaber, and Yosaber really much under pressure now. On a set of soft compound tires, he's dropped like an absolute stone through the field. Now down into 8th position, under pressure from the FOL man out on track, but Ruben right in the back of shot as well, and he is going to be closing in a nice F1 Friends Cup sandwich out on track. Harry Banks, though, has joined onto the back of Fenny and joined onto the back of Crazer. Fenny is holding up Crazer, a massive treat here. Amazing Hours nearly got 4 seconds over him out on track, and that is how fresh the mediums are around here compared to the guys on the set of softs. Silu is now looking to the inside line on Yosaber down in towards turn 1. Yosaber hangs on and he stays in 8th position for now, but Crazer right on the back of Fenny. Fenny, I think, is going to get overtaken by Crazer here down in towards turn 7. He has got overtake mode out. He's going to have to try and lunge it down the inside line. He doesn't think about it. Fenny goes out wide. In fact, now Crazer to the outside line, similar to what Grassi did earlier on in the race on lap 2, as Crazer goes all the way around the outside with no contact. A beautiful move by Crazer. He is through and he's into second. Fenny, though, holding these guys up a train, and now Mickey's involved in this as well.
Yeah, they're all punching up there behind the soft shot STV car of Fenny, who's now going to be holding back. High backs into the Anderson Bridge. They make contact then. High backs held up behind. He's going to get a move on soon because Mickey is charging at him. Championship rivals looking to go at it. High B now. DRS. Overtake. Can he find a lunge in turn 14? There's a championship on the line, but he's going to go for it. Down the inside. He's squeezed by Fenny and oversteered to the inside then. High holds on to him, but he doesn't get a place. He's going to try to tag again. No, at turn 16 though. He hangs back for the move, but that's only allowing Mickey more time to close it and allowing Creaser more time to scamper away and up the road. But Amazing Hours lead nearly 5 seconds. Emphatic laps from the Australian, who's pumping them in and pulling clear by some margin. 39.8 as the lap time. He's still going quicker as Fenny does at last dive to the pit lane, and that frees up a battle for 3rd place now between Harry Banks and Mickey. But Fenny now going in then. He's going in relatively early. What's the tire going to be? It's going to be hard. So he's not willing to risk it, go for those mediums. He dives in then. Yosaber is also coming behind on the softs, but that said, predictably, hasn't lasted the longest of time. So that's how things are standing. It's up in 3rd place, Harry Banks, right up against the wall out of turn 5, and he's got pressure from Mickey MG now up towards the Memorial corner, but the maneuver, he looks the inside, but of course not quite going to fall through with it. Harry holds on to it, so that is P3, P4 for the moment. Yosaber emerges down in about P12 then. Benny's come out a few seconds behind Benny, so that just shows how powerful that undercut was. Benny was running in that window with Weekday. He's already 3.5 seconds up the road. That's hard strategy, looking good at the minute. Of course, there's that risk of Benny getting damaged, but now Benny's got to try, got a task on his hands then. 3.5 seconds, that's going to be a real challenge to close down.
I'm getting a sense of deja vu possibly for my commentary on Monday. We had Nathan on that commentary, Benny and Fenny now here in EML Premier. When am I going to get a break in terms of these rhyming names out on track? Benny and Fenny though, TTG versus SCV, and Fenny you would imagine would begin to close in, probably later on in the race more than anything. Luke Etheridge, the newly announced YouTube manager of course here on League Racing TV, in the comment section, commentator of course for League One, saying 28 laps was the longest anyone tried on in League One. No punctures on that car, and Fenny has came into the pit lane indeed, and there is the man out on track. Colin Mason is actually not entirely out of this either. He's 1.6 seconds off the back, showing good amounts of pace on his laps at the minute. And the Welshman, of course, representing ESW. It has just got a little bit quiet though out on track, but we look through the field, and Mason now does lead the way. Crater in second, and Harry Banks there in third. Kazizzle picks up 3 seconds on. I believe Kazizzle's got damage as well on that left side end plate. It's only 12% damage, 6% damage on that for Kazizzle. But that damage we saw with Benny, how much it affects him. Benny pulling away, of course, he came into the pit lane. He got held up in the pits by I don't know who it was that came into the pit. I think it was Colin that came into the pit lane. But
yeah.
Benny, 9th position. Currently, he could be one to watch later on in the race, especially as the interval timing from the leader down to Benny is 30.5 seconds. Stop around here, probably around about 25.
Yeah, I think 25.5 seconds is the official pit delta round here, so he won't be far off at all. It will actually be in a real battle with the likes of Crater, who's going to try and get a move on here. He's losing time to Amazing Hour. Amazing Hour's pace is in the with the low to mid 39s. Crater pretty much an entire second slower than that, and he's being caught by Harry Banks in behind as well then, who's really giving any drop Becky. So it is the two championship contending teams up the front there, but at the moment Leonis do seem to have the edge on raw pace. One man that's going very well at the moment, though, further back is Urazi on the hard tire, starred on them, and he's caught Mickey as well then, so the hard's now coming into play then. He was 7/10 quicker on the last lap than the CGT driver in front, and he is continuing to make inroads now within 1 second, and within that DRS range with 3 DRS zones, that is going to add up, that's going to make some difference. So he's attacking up towards 4th place, and he's going to be one to watch as well as Harry Banks, yes certainly, has caught right up to Creaser. Was 1.2 seconds quicker on the last lap. Creaser, big oversteer in a turn 3. Holds on to it, but he's got increasing pressure. He has got damage, 12% then on the right front wing, and that's going to give the Leonis driver a great chance of getting through here now. To the inside of turn 6, to the inside of turn 7. Slows himself up, and it's a Leonis 1-2. Harry Banks trying to convert it, and Creaser is fading back. Inside of turn 8, surely not here. He's run out of road by Harry, who moves himself up in the second place. Leonis 1 and 2, the move complete. Amazing, 8 seconds up the road. These two, once again, an incredible partnership. They've shared the podium on several occasions throughout the season already, and at the moment they run 1 and 2 and looking towards the championship. It's far from over, there's still a long way to go. As I think was that Creaser further back then. Getting into, is that Urazi actually at the back of Becky, looking for a way up towards 4th place. So let's see how this goes then, as he opens up the overtake, opens up the DRS, up towards top 14, diving down the inside. Can he get the stop? There's a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact then, through the eggs, and he's still fading for it. Top 15, can he get the way into it?
Oh, what a move!
Incredibly late, and somehow gets it stopped, gets it turned in. Urazi is up in a 4th place. Brilliant stuff from the TTG man. Now runs P4 from Mickey. Those hard tires really coming into the road. The TTG man who finished on the podium in Monza, looking so strong here. Now runs P4, only a few seconds off P2 as Mickey does start to the pit lane. And Creaser, a 10-second penalty. One out's going in there, Creaser has gone in. They're double stacking in CGT, but now these guys have died in, and that's a mental penalty to pick up then. Creaser, 10 seconds, one dent. Is that going to make 2 his chances tonight?
Yeah, Crater and Mickey, by the way, in separate pit boxes, so they're not going to be held up in the pit lane. There goes Mickey, in fact, just past him. Fraser is out of the pit lane just behind, and Mickey and Fraser now going to be behind Fenny, behind Colin, possibly coming across the line as Colin, and Mickey is going to be behind him for sure. The Welshman now coming down and towards someone, and there he is. Yep, he's gone through. No worries whatsoever for the ESW man coming out in front of the CGT man out on track. But there is a yellow flag in sector 2 and 3, be further down the field, and it's Yosu into the wall coming through turn 14. Might deploy a VSC. I don't think there's any damage actually on that car. He's got 19% damage in fact on that right side end plate, but his race has gone from bad to worse, and Yosu all the way down in 14th position. If I was him, do not give up and get the points in for your team.
Yeah, certainly, of course, then, every point matters, certainly, in EML Premier, as we've seen so often throughout the past as well. So, yeah, certainly keep plugging on. That is, of course, the way to go about it. In terms of the proceedings here, and then he continues in 14th position. Up at the front, Looks like Amazing Hour is going to stay out there for the moment. He is comfortable. He's still running decent pace and has dropped off a little bit then into the 40s now on the last lap as Harry Banks does dive in from behind. The hard runners though in behind, the likes likes of Benny, for example, they're running fairly decent pace at the moment, and so that undercut has worked fairly well, and Harry Banks is going to be hard pressed. He does go onto a set of the hard Commentators, of course, so he's going to get those switched on. Where will he emerge? And as Benny is coming now down the pit straight, and this is the power of the undercut. Despite a leg change, he's comfortably in front, and Fenny is going to jump, I think, in front of the Leonis man as well. Yes, he does. Fenny is through. Harry Banks in behind then, so that is a fairly large gap he slots into now. He's comfortably in front of Colin Mason, who's now got pressure from both the customs men, and it's Mickey right on the rear wing of the ESW Mandate, and Crazy will look to try and follow through from behind as well. So how's this one going to unfold then? Mickey MG first up to the mark, then Colin big oversteer out of turn 5, but now the run comes through for the Customs Mandate, fades to the left, the fades to the right, goes to the left, then gets to the inside line, and through goes Mickey. Can Crazer try and follow through to this middle section, then up towards turn 8, looks to the inside line, knows what's at stake, knows he doesn't want to try and throw everything at the manoeuvre just yet, but Mickey is through, and Crazy looking to follow through soon, but still Colin holds it back. Mickey now through 4 seconds out to Harry B up the road then. He's made it work as Harry B. Now he's going to push on to Benny, up towards Benny. Benny's got a good advantage here, and we know those tires can last, so Benny's got a lot to go here. What can he do here? He won't be far off from Amazing Hour actually, when Amazing Hour now comes in. So Benny is going very well. The question is, can he keep those tires going? Harry B is going to closing down rapidly, as will Fenny. That's going to be intriguing. Fenny's not really caught much though, so Benny going well at the moment. Can he hold on to that pace?
Yeah, Fenny catching Benny out on track, and I wonder if it's going to be like Benny Hill towards the end of this race, where Fenny will be catching Benny. Yeah, that's terrible. Maze is now gonna come out, but I'll tell you what, Amazing Hour is going to be well ahead of Benny here. Amazing Hour coming out the pit lane. Benny's only on the run down towards turn 1. Amazing Hour is ahead of Benny. Amazing Hour has managed to undercut. He had such a good lead, but look at how much Benny has caught up in terms of the strategy. The undercut absolutely potent around this track. That gap was about 8.5 seconds, I think, when he came into the pit lane, did Benny. And Benny's only a second and a half behind. He's gained 7 seconds because of that undercut. That is insane.
That is certainly insane, and as we got yellows down the road, Yosu is going off again as Creaser now at last attacking Colin Mason. He's going to the inside through Raffles Boulevard, but easily on his way up at a 10th place then. So through go both of the customs men, but they've leaked a lot of time to Harry Banks up the road, then who still runs solidly in 8th position. But Amazing Hour out there comfortably up front then. But TTG looking very good for a good haul of points here. Jirazi is just plugging on, powering on in the other TTG car for the moment. Then up at the front, then his tires only sitting around 30% on the rears, so he's still got some life left in him, and pushing on is further back. Hello, Amazing Hour is on the rear wing of Ruben Semi, so this is the battle shaping up then. Amazing Hour only 2 seconds in front of Benny, but he's got pressure tires on. You sense when he gets those fully switched on, he'll be up the road, but now he's on the back of Ruben then. Ruben's still going out there on the mediums, but Amazing Hour chasing him there. You sense with the tyre advantage, this is going to be a case of when, not if.
Yeah, Yosu there just getting out of the way as well. He was ghosted, so he could have just continued on, but Amazing Hour, yeah, Ruben's going to go into the pit lane. I was literally going to come on to that and say he's going to be in the pit lane this lap. He is, and now Amazing Hour is in 4th position, out on track, trying to chase down Silu in 3rd position. Grassi leading the way, Kazizel in 2nd, Silu in 3rd with Amazing Hour in 4th, Benny in 5th. Ruben is into the pit lane then, in the F1 Friends Cup car. Yosu also into the pit lane to prepare his front wing onto a set of hard compounded tyres. He goes, and Ruben, I think, is going to be around about his teammate. He's going to be well ahead, in fact, of his teammate Yosepa. He's only coming through in towards turn 22 now. Ruben pretty much at the other end of the pit lane at the pit exit. He's now out the pit lane, and Yosepa is in behind and probably going to be around 3 seconds, I think, when he decides to come out of the pit lane, and he has now. And look at the gap. It's perfectly on 3 seconds.
Well, congratulations, James. You won a medal for that prediction. But the FSE guys are running NP11, P12 at the moment out there on the track. Then up the road to Harry Banks, really on it at the moment. Was in the 38s the last lap. Was a full second quicker than Fenny further up the road. So now he's getting dialed in, looking for that 6th place then. And these guys both reeling in Benny. Fenny not that much quicker. Benny and Fenny battle could still be delivered. We'll see how that is going to unfold then. And I'm hoping you're going to be commentating over that battle when it does come about. But now Harry Banks chasing down, looking for that 6th place out on the road. So he's going to try and hunt it down then. It's further up the road. Amazing Hour well out of front then. Up in 4th place then. He's got a few hard runs in front. Jirazi's still going quite well. He's maintaining that gap to Kazizel in front then. These guys going on very nicely. Cielo hasn't quite been able to match that kind of pace in 6.5 seconds shy of the man in front who picks up another time penalty because this is now 6 seconds to his name. Will not help him at all. But Jirazi, penalty free. He does have 2 warnings, so it's amazing. Our fastest lap of the race, flying on a 1:38.3. But Jirazi going well at the moment then, maintaining that pace. Will he emerge then and going on the mediums? Because we saw how close he was to both the customs guys. He may come out around Colin region, and I tell you what, with fresh tires underneath him, he can really be a game changer then in the last few laps. And mediums on the car, he's going to be going very well. The question is, can he make up that time? But watch out for Jirazi. He's going to be a factor at the end of the race as Harry Banks out. Try chasing on Benny, but I don't think the manoeuvre is going to come through. Just get into the Memorial corner. Benny holds it back. Harry though on the back of him, getting held up now, but it's not really needs. He needs to try and chase down Benny. Still the possibility of Leonis going to, but Harry Banks got some overtakes to do then, and as well hold back Jirazi. Jirazi is going to be a threat at the end of the race on the medium tyres. I can't wait to see what a TTG man can do when he gets those tyres fitted.
If honestly I was Harry Banks, he used up no overtake mode to try and get onto the back of Fenny, running down in towards Raffles Boulevard and then down in towards Memorial Corner out on track. But Harry Banks out on track in 7th position. There's Fenny ahead of him, and I'll say with great confidence now, it's going to be Benny and Banks rather than Benny and Fenny out on track, because Harry is now getting held up. Fenny is losing time to Benny. He's lost 0.2 of a second in that sector alone. Harry Banks now on the back. If I was Harry, I'd rather risk it and I'd try and go for the move as soon as possible, because he's not going to have to rely on Fenny dragging him into the race. Fenny is not going to drag you into the race, my son. Harry Banks in 7th position is going to have to drag himself into the race based on pace, because Izzle's into the pit lane as well. First man at intra-set of hard compounded tyres, and he is going to go onto a set of medium. 17 laps should work quite fine. Harry though right on the back of Fenny. Fenny is 3.2 seconds off Benny coming across the line, and Harry has got to not rely on Fenny to try and get the move done. There's plenty of Fennys and Bennies, I know, but Harry Banks, if I was him, I'd get the move done down him towards turn 7 and absolutely fly up the road. And this should be now the move that we're going to see from Harry Banks. He knows that Fenny is not going to carry him into the race. It's exactly how I've planned it out. To the left-hand side, it should be job done down in towards Memorial Corner. It is job done down in towards Memorial Corner. See, I like drivers listening to me. Harry Banks through, and he's into 5th.
Yeah, smart driving there from Harry Banks. Then 3 seconds to make up to TTG Benny going further up the road. Let's see what he can do then. Is up the road as well. Amazing Hour has caught Sihilo on this, so that's going to be very, very interesting then. Of course, Sihilo are much, much older tyres. Remember, he got in an incident with Amazing Hour's teammate in qualifying. But Amazing Hour does have about 5 seconds in hand over Benny behind and much fresher tyres, so he can afford to sort of just take his time a little bit with this manoeuvre. Doesn't want to take too many unnecessary risks with the big net lead that he has. We've got yellows down there again. That's your saver that's going off out of turn 8 then on the hard tyres, and I think he has got damage. Yes, he does have damage to that front wing as well. It's not been a good race for FFC in this Grand Prix, that is for certain, and those guys are going to have a lot to do further down the road. Is Amazing Hour now attacking. Cielo is going to go through into the pit lane. So in comes the FRL man. Jirazi still leads it. He's going to be a long way behind Amazing Hour. Too much to make up, I suspect, when he does dive in. But when that pit stop does happen, he will have a fighting chance of getting up behind some other drivers as well. As Fenny is actually moving with Harry Banks up towards Benny. So he's using that to good effect. Harry, though, on the charge, and it's TTG 1 and 3, Leonis 2 and 4. That is how things stand at the moment then. Customs down at the moment then. They've got a lot of work to do to make sure they stay in this championship fight. We'll calculate it, I'm sure, further down the road as to how things stand. But Jirazi leading 10 seconds ahead. We've got more yellows now. Is that Cielo coming out of the pit lane? Is that Yosu? Sorry, I can't exactly keep up with how. Is that Yosu? Yeah.
Yeah, your Saber, I think it is. He's back into the
Right.
pit lane. You say, no, that was in. No, he's just come into pit lane now. I don't know who that was. Out on track. Was it Colin? Possibly on the back of Krazer. Because the gap's now 1.3 seconds.
I don't think anything in particular has happened with Colin.
Siley, left side end plate damage. That's who it was.
So who I said it first. Yeah.
But
anyway, we'll move past that little kerfuffle that we've had then on the commentary, but we'll move forward because we still have some battles out there on the track. Because Zezo has gone up to the back of Colin Armason. It's been on the overtake. He is looking to get past. He is eager to move through then. As Urazi picks up a penalty, that's not going to help him one bit in his attempt to charge then. Kazezel though, round the back of Colin. Surely not in a turn 16. He's going to wait. Gets very close and actually touching the rear rank of the ASW man. He's going to the inside lane. Kazezel braved to the inside. Can he get it stopped? Oh, that is incredible. So bold. Colin gave it the space, gave it the respect, and Kazezel goes through. Brilliant stuff. He made the maneuver, caught the switchback. Kazezel goes through. That was bold. It was brave. It was brilliant. Kazezel now to 8th. Now he's going to try and charge up to the customs cars in front then on those fresh tires then. Kazezel the P8. What a brave and spectacular maneuver that was.
Mouth wide open, and never in my life have I been speechless from a move like that. I thought it was going to end up in contact completely between them both. Kazizzle, though, absolutely charging. He is showing his right colours now, out on track. 5.3 seconds again on Krazer. He's going to wrap that up in the next 5 laps easily, I think. He has got a penalty, but he's got so much fresher tyres compared to Krazer. Watch out for him later on in the race. Obviously, his tyres are going to be later on. Yossi was crashed, I think, out on track early on in the lap, and I think he's gone round again, if I'm not mistaken. But Garassi leads the way, Mace, now in second. Garassi, interesting call on him. He's what 45% I think on terms of his tyres at this moment in time. It's 49% roughly, 45% on that rear right. Is he possibly going to go on to the end of the race onto a set of soft compounded tyre? That's what I would think he would do.
Well, yeah, because he is stretching. That's more than I thought he would. You think about it, Kazezo and Cielo, they came in quite a couple of laps ago now, but still out there as Urazi. He's got some life left in those tyres, so what is he going to do then towards the end of the race? That is a strategic development we have got to keep our eyes on. So Urazi does lead the way. Amazing Hour has cornered by a good few seconds so far, but is still sitting comfortably. Benny's still got impressive pace. To say the age of those tyres, Harry Banks is reeling him in, but not by the rate that I was expecting. Last lap for Benny was a 40.3. Harry Banks was half a second quicker, but it will take him a good few laps before he's onto the back end looking for a way through then. The customs guys getting very close out on the track then. Nicky D holding back. Crater on the road then. They run in line in tandem, and P6 and P7 being reeled in rapidly by Kazizzle. And behind then, 2 seconds at drift as the FRL driver currently. He is storming, was well quicker, nearly 3 seconds quicker than both the guys in front. He's flying, he's charging, and he's making what I would say is an undercut attempt then. Jirazi stayed out so much longer on those tires because even though he had to make overtakes, the pace he had, he's jumping to TTG, man. Jirazi, this is an intriguing strategy. He stayed out longer, but is this going to pay off then? Has he left it too late to pit?
I don't think he has, to be honest, Garassi. He has got to try and eke out that advantage when he's in clear air. The advantage for him now, because Zizzle's hitting a little bit of traffic. He's hitting both the CGT cars out on track. Mickey and Krazer, 6th and 7. It's about a second and a half it's going to be coming out of this corner between the 3 of them out on track. And Kazizzle, it is one thing to get onto the back of a driver and another thing to overtake around here. As Garassi, now into the pit lane, going to go onto that set of medium compounded tyres, and he, not like me, would have went onto a set of softs. He's not listening to me for once. Kazizzle on the back row of Krazer, and Krazer still in 7th position. Kazizzle in 8th. Garassi is coming out towards the pit lane now. This is going to be extraordinarily close. Kazizzle has picked up a 3-second Tommy. I think they're going to be side by side running out of the pit lane. There he is to the left hand side. That's Kazizzle just coming round, and Kazizzle's ahead. Kazizzle ahead of Garassi, but Garassi now right on the back of these train. CGT are going to hold him up and try and box him in at this point, and Kazizzle has got to be careful. He's got to use his wits about him. He's got both CGT cars ahead. Yes, he's got the pace. Has he got the racecraft to get past? We saw it with Colin. Yes, he has. Kazizzle, though, not getting on the back of Krazer, and he's another one, like with Harry Banks, he doesn't have to rely on Mickey and Crazer to drag them into the race, because they're literally boxing them in, literally down in towards turn 8, and it's impossible to try and get past. And they're going to try it all lengths here for CGT to try and get as many points as possible. Kazizzle, though, right on the back, he's got to use his wits about him, and he's got to watch out for Garassi in behind, because Garassi's now making this a 4-car battle for 5th.
Kazizzle now, is he going to go bold again? Yes, he is! He dives into the inside of the hairband, and he makes like wheel-to-wheel contact, and now he does get through, and now Jirazi is looking to capitalise immediately, up towards the outside, towards turn 14, can he get it stopped and turned in round the outside, they make wheel-to-wheel contact again, but Jirazi's round the outside, into turn 15, has he snatched it, Kazizzle's fighting back, he's squeezed, Leamington round, just holds on to it, but he's lost time, Kazizzle tried to dive it, Jirazi got the elbows out. He saw the opportunity. He dived straight into it, and the two medium short cars came together. Kazizzle down, but he's not out. He's still with it. Now, can Jirazi have better success in front of the CTG drivers? Now, opens up the DRS on the overtake. He's chasing down Crazer to the inside line. Surely not there. They make contact, and both spinning in tandem. Jirazi went early, went aggressive, and it hasn't paid off for either of them. Out they go. They recover at P7 and P8, but that has set them both back nowhere. Jirazi went through. Crazer wasn't willing to yield. They come together. Jirazi will look to try and get through now. Crazer though using the overtake. He's been taken out. He's not going to be willing to give up this place then. Jirazi sends him out because that's what they're promoted. What on earth is going on now? Jirazi, was he just too aggressive? Did he need to just take his time?
He missed his braking point. I think he missed his braking point out on track. He was so much later than Crazer on the brakes. He literally had nowhere to go bar the inside and bar them to make contact. It's very similar to 2017 in the wet conditions when Verstappen, Vettel and Raikkonen made contact down the straight. I can draw very, very good similarities from that. Of course, it was a more horrendous accident in there in Singapore in 2017 in real life, and Crazer goes to the outside line, Garassi on the inside line, gets a good run out, and then now they've literally split apart the track as Garassi looks to the inside line. He's now going to try it down the inside there, and patience is an absolute virtue. Is he going to try and get the move done though? Yes, he has. Garassi is through, and he's into 7th position. Patience is a virtue. Yellow flag in Sector 3. Yosu has crashed, I think, as we've got a yellow flag in Sector 1 as well. I'm not sure who that might be, but Yosu then, has he retired coming out of the pit lane?
He's retired
possibly?
into the pit lane.
Ah, okay. That's why then.
Yes, he has, he's decided to call it a day. Fair play to him, he wasn't realistically getting any higher than where he currently was. We've got a few battles though shaping up on track. Harry Banks has at last caught Benny in a battle for P2 now. It's Benny's tire still holding on. Can he see that position to the checker flag? It'd be a superb drive if he can manage to drive that one home. Meki under pressure. Kazizzle on the attack. Up through turn 6 towards turn 7, defending the inside line. Kazizzle looks outside to Memorial Corner. Can he sweep around the outside? He's forced off the track by Meki, but he does get through there. Kazizzle manages to keep it legal. He was in front before they ran off the track, and they made a bit of contact. Kazizzle to 5th then. It was aggressive. Again, he took the risk, as he's done all the way throughout this then. Kazizzle to the top 5 then, but those penalties cost him. He needs to get a move on now. He needs to really get going. He's got 6 seconds to make up with 9 seconds of penalties. You said even if he catches Vanny, pulling out any sort of gap to match his 9 seconds is going to be a near impossible task for Kazizzle, the last race winner.
Yeah, Kazizzle 3.9 seconds behind Fenny now, but he's in clear air, and now he can close in on the back of Fenny with fresher mediums on that car. Harry Banks pressurising Benny as well. Benny is already came into the pit lane on lap 4 when that VSC came out because of Hide's crash, and now Harry Banks right on the back of him, running in towards the final couple of corners. I was going to say the Williams out on track. I don't know why I was going to say that. It's the same colour. LR man out on track compared to the TTG man ahead has got fresher tyres on him, he's got fresher rubber, but knowing Harry Banks, he's not going to go for a move that he doesn't think is going to be there. He has actually timed this to perfection because Fenny wasn't going to drag him into the race, and look where Fenny is now. He's 5 seconds more inferior ahead of him compared, and now he's going to try and look for the move down and towards turn 7 in fact, and now I don't think he's going to get the move done. Down and towards turn 7. Yeah, Benny hangs on for 2nd. Harry Banks in 3rd, but more pressure being applied. Garassi catching Mickey as well. 1.6 seconds the gap out on track. And looking at the penalties as well, plenty of penalties being picked up out on track. We've had a request in the comment section. There you are. Top 4, you haven't got any penalties yet. Kazizel's on 9, Mickey on 3, Garassi on 3, Crazy's on 21. He did pick up a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting, which I think was an illegal pit entry, which is why he got that 10-second penalty. Colin on 6, Sailu on 12, Ruben on 3, Yasaber on 9, and Ivory and Mike on 6. As Harry Banks is all over the back of Benny, coming towards the end of the middle sector, but no way trying to find the way through just yet.
Yeah, he's content to just sit behind and looking for that second position. Benny, of course, now, those tyres will be getting to scream from underneath him. He's over 50% now. Howard Banks is about half that in terms of the wear on the rear tyres. Then that's what really takes the punishment around this Marina Bay circuit. But he's going to try and find a way through that. Benny holds back Harry Banks, but of course, Harry's got time to make this manoeuvre suck then. So now over the line then, lap 23, just about 9 laps to go here in Singapore, with a very entertaining race, full of action, full of incident, it must be said then. That is what you'd expect from Singapore. But now is this battle for second gonna unfold behind. Garazzi is caught up to the back of Mickey as well then. That's another battle to look out for out on track. Benny though, sterling job so far, keeping holding a second place. Harry's throwing everything at him, but so far the move just hasn't come, and he has to wait behind further into Memorial Corner. Garazzi's not going to have such patience though. He is on the attack. He is going to cruise the inside line and through the 6th position. This time he gets past both CDT drivers comfortably up in a P6. He was within penalty range of Kazezel as well, really flying along nicely on those fresh mediums there, still pressing on. He's had an incident. Garazzi down but not out, and you sense it up in the 6th then, making really good speed at the moment then. Garazzi flying as a top 5 in order. How much further can he push it then? Garazzi, great recovery drive, but is he going to have a stewards report on his head?
Yeah, he might do, to be honest. Kazizel, though, is in a very precarious situation. He's caught up to the back of Fenny, pretty much. It's 1.2 seconds out on top in terms of Fenny at this moment in time. Kazizel's got that penalty, remember. Garassi has also got a penalty, but 2 seconds the gap behind Kazizel. He is going to close in on that at a rate of knots. Honestly, he's on so much fresher tyres compared to Kazizel in front of him. Kazizel is catching Fenny. Garassi is catching both of them. This is going to end up in a 3-way battle for 4th position out on track. I will guarantee you that now. Kazizel will probably try and get past Fenny. Fenny, though, is now, it's beginning to get to that point where the hards are probably going to wear less than the mediums out on track, and the mediums are going to be the tyres to watch out for. Is there going to be more progress in the field from Kazizel and Garassi? If they didn't hit that traffic, would they be out of Fenny? I have no doubt they would be. Harry Banks though on the back of Benny, coming out now through, in towards Memorial Corner, and this is as close as he's ever been to the back, the Brit on the back of the German, and he's now coming right the outside in towards Memorial Corner, tries to go all the way around the outside. Benny forced him off track, and Harry Banks, I think that would have been a legal overtake if he tried to go all the way around the outside and not quite close enough. Fenny getting closed down by Kazizel. Kazizel though has hit Fenny at the worst possible point out on track, just coming into the middle sector, and Garassi 1.2 seconds clear. That's not going to be 1.2 seconds by the end of the lap.
Yeah, Garazzi looking to take that opportunity to chase down the gap because that's up the road then. He got up to him, got past him, made a mistake and has pulled it back. Further up the road though, intentions have been made very clear by Benny. He is not giving up that 2nd place, and he has about 20% more battery as well to use as Kazezu right with Benny. Benny, sorry, bang oversteer, heading off of turn 14, and that is going to cost him dearly into the 3rd sector. Is he going to get brave again in turn 16? I don't think so this time, but Garazzi is now with him. More battery to his name, looking for any which way through. So 4th, 5th, 6th, all together, 2nd and 3rd, right with each other, almost nose to tail. Amazing hours well out in front. 12 seconds clear. He is dominating the Singapore Grand Prix from lights out. Now on to lap 25, he leads comfortably, but the battle for second is still not over. There are scores to be settled, and a championship potentially to be decided. So how is this going to unfold then? Fenny trying to hold back Kazezel. Kazezel's right on it, but he's got to be careful. Remember when he tried to get past Fenny a few laps before? He made the error, and Garazzi got through. Garazzi right there with Kazezel. These guys going at it. Fenny's going to be hard pressed to hold on the board. They'll do all they can. Kazezel out! Kazezel off! And a turn 3 and spinning off! goes the FRL driver. Oh, that is what drama here. Concezo going off then, dropping on the throw. I think he went on the overtake. They won't now. Down into 7th position, and Concezo throwing away a potential top 5 finish. What on earth has happened there?
I'm not sure actually if there might have been a little bit of contact. It was a very weird camera angle that we were running on board. This is the POV of Garassi on board. Kazizzle just got a little bit of out of shape on the rear end coming out of turn 3. Garassi then was right underneath him, pretty much right on the rear wing of the car. I'm not sure if he has actually made contact with him or if that was just the camera angle deceiving me, but I think Kazizzle lost it by himself. I would be very, very hard done by saying that he didn't. But Kazizzle, I think, has, and he's nearly crashing into the wall. He's got so much damage, and in fact, he's crashed coming across the Anderson Bridge. Garassi's through on Fenny, by the way, down in towards turn 14, but Kazizzle trying to troop his way back. If he is not careful, I think he might cause a safety car, because he's got no front wing on that car at all now, and that car is going to be literally unsteerable for the remaining part of this final sector.
Certainly will. He's got to try and get it back, wrestle it back, but Concezo, oh, what a shame. After such a strong race up to that point then, the Monza race winner is currently in anguish. And as I remember, Mike's going in at the back of the field, looking to try and go for fastest lap here, though I don't think it rewards any points.
Oh,
Concezo retired, he's gone out. Concezo out of the grandstands then. So he's gone off into turn 18, must have braked himself in a race that showed such promise, has deteriorated to disaster in an instant. That is the harsh reality of racing on this game. Kazizzle is out. It looks to have cleared itself. We won't get any sort of safety cars or virtual safety cars from that, as it turns out. But that is eliminated what potentially looked like a thrilling P4 fight. Girazi's got through fairly easily, and now he's going to try and head for that as Giulia's come into the pit lead as well. We only have 12 drivers remaining in the Singapore Grand Prix. It's been dramatic, it's been incident-packed, but of course it seems like the only constant has been the man at the front. Amazing Hour, LR Amazing Hour, leads by nearly 13 seconds, 5.5 laps to go. He can seemingly cruise the line then, as it stands, well out in front then, by nearly 13 seconds. High back, so attacking Benny, but still, Benny holds it back. It's been a sterling defensive P2. High cannot get through, fresher tires or not, then Benny's doing wonders to hold the LR man back.
Benny is holding up Harry Banks because Garassi is absolutely flying out on track. He is gaining 0.3 of a second pretty much through every single corner he goes through. It's now 3.4 seconds. He just sort of dropped a little bit, but now, just in the back of camera shot, you might have just caught him there, the red flash coming through the screen. That was Garassi. He's 3 seconds behind. Harry Banks now, if I was his team manager, I'd be telling him to get on the throttle to try and get past Benny, because Benny is going to be holding up Harry to try and get Garassi into play. And this is now going to be team tactics between TTG and between LR. If I was directing the orders, Harry Banks needs to get this move done, and he needs to get it done now, because Garassi is going to be on top of him in 2 laps.
But Benny has more battery to defend from Harry Banks, and Harry Banks doing everything to chase him down towards the Memorial Corner, but he simply cannot draw near enough. Benny holds it back then. These guys were in the low 40s in the last lap. Then Garassi was in the 37s, but Harry Banks diving to turn 90. Looks for it, doesn't go through with it then. Benny holds it back, and that was an intimidating challenge from the LR, the Leonis man, but Benny does not crack his defense. Has been perfection, but can he hold it back then towards the hairpin? Harry Banks maybe getting desperate, impatient. Can he get through quickly? A big oversteer off of the hairpin again on the overtake mode. He closes down towards turn 14, looks to the inside, but again cannot get through. And now Garassi is almost with them within a second now. Harry doing all he can, but Benny holding it back, parking the bus, and now Garassi ain't played it. Could it be P2 with the TTG man?
It could be P2 for the TTG man, but Benny, 23 lap old hard, he's going to the end of the race. He's going to hold up Harry, but I think he's got to try and do a smart move here. Benny has got to put Harry Banks in a bit of a box situation with Garassi in behind. Harry will then possibly lose the position to Garassi, and then Benny can let through Garassi for second position. That's what I think might just occur here out on track. With 4 laps to go, Benny leading the way, Harry Banks in second, Amazing Hour leading the way. not taking anything away from him. He's 15 seconds clear. Benny in second, Harry Banks in third, and Garassi in fourth position. I have a feeling, though, this is going to get pretty leery pretty quickly, as Benny is now really under pressure. He's hardly got any EOS to try and attack with, though, Harry Banks, and Garassi is not going to be close enough this time around. There's a yellow flag in sector 3. I think it's just Saber that might have just went off. That is actually Silu. I think that might have just went off. One of those two. As now Garassi tries to look down the inside line. Benny has got to do his job. He's got to do one part of the job, and that's hold Harry Banks up. He's got to do the second half of the job, and he's going to have to get Garassi in a position where he can overtake both of them and get for second. And if they're not careful, Fenny might be on the back of this before the end of the race.
I mean, the rate that Benny is backing these guys up, we'll see how things are going to unfold then. But Harry Banks seemingly getting a bit desperate as Garassi very close to his rear leg. But Harry Banks gets a decent enough exit and a turn 13, but Benny's still got him in the battery, but he's running out trying to defend it. To the inside lane he looks, but he doesn't go through it. Still Benny holds on. He may be able to squeak P2. Remember, Garassi does have a 3-second time penalty to his name, so if he's going to get through, he needs to get through now. But we've seen the excess in pace that he has. But of course, Harry Banks has still got DRS to defend. I'm not sure what you've got further down the field. James, anything to report?
Amazing Hours damage, left side end plate damage. It's not affecting him, he's pulling away from these guys, but he has got left side end plate damage on that car, 6%, out on track. Benny is now nearly in puncture territory. That rear right is going to blow, possibly before the end of this race. We've got 3 laps to go. He's on 68% now, coming across the line down and towards turn 1. Benny is in trouble in terms of his tyres. Garassi's pretty much shoving Harry Banks through the corner. Harry Banks is going to shove Benny through the corner. And honestly, if these guys are not careful, this is going to end up in absolute tragedies. Now Harry has got to try and get the move done on Benny, running down in towards Memorial Corner, running again. He's on the inside line, he's being squeezed, but he looks to the inside line. He's going to have to get through, and Garassi's going to have to be let through here by Benny. There's one part of the deal done. Now Garassi's freed up onto the back of Harry. He's got fresher tyres compared to him out on track as well. And now this is the point where Garassi is going to be quicker than Harry. It's a straight fight now between these two.
On the track, but of course then they do have the penalty to Garassi's name. That could swing things back towards the Leonis man. They're hunting for a 1-2. They're hunting for a championship here, but can they see it through? Harry B then looking at drawing all of his experience, all of his talent, but we know Garassi's pedigree as well. These guys are going to go at it out there on the circuit then. Garassi started 12th in this race, now runs third and chasing down P2, but as he left it too late, then is the penalty going to cost him dear? These two drivers who have shown so much success over the course of the championship, so many podiums between them, they're going at it. As further down the road we have a car often, not sure who that was. I think it might have been either a Mike letting drivers through in the third sector, but we look towards the fight for P2 out on the road, and Harry B is now drawing on his last reserves of pace then to try and pull away. 6/10 of a second is the gap between them, but we know Garassi's got a bit more grip underneath him now. He's going to look to try and chase him down. Less than 2 laps to go, and Harry bang overs there and a turn 3, but still the car's in the right direction then. Garassi now coming out of turn 5 towards Rambles Boulevard, trying to chase him down. This could be his last chance here. He's closing down all the time. Harry defends the inside, and surely now can he get through Garassi? Loses the inside line. Harry covers it off then, and with that attack, I think that might be it. Then Garassi may get through still on the track, but 3-second penalty. Surely he can't lose this now. Gary Banks now, you sense now he's got P2 in his hands.
Yeah, Garassi surely with that 3-second penalty is going to be affected, but Harry Banks second at this moment in time, 16 seconds to try and get in on Amazing Hour. Amazing Hour's won this, out on track, there's no doubt about it. Harry Banks is in second, Garassi third, Benny in fourth, Fenny in fifth. These guys are not careful. Benny could catch these guys before the end of the race. I'm saying that now, it's 2.1 seconds. The gap came down slightly when they were battling. Benny might just be within a slight chance. I know he's got 26 lap old hard, but just watch out for him maybe towards the end of the race. Side's going to go into the pit lane to try and get the fastest lap of the race as well, as Yoseba is in 11th position. In fact, he's going to be out of the pit lane pretty much. Yeah, he's going to be ahead, Yoseba, but Side's going to be on the back of him running on the final lap of this race. And in fact, they are on the final lap of the race for them guys. Amazing Hour leads the way. He's lapped both of them. Harry Banks is in second, Garassi in third. It's a straight fight on track between these two. Car number 2, car number 98. It adds up to 100 at the end of the day. Garassi, though, will be trying to score as many points as possible to try and thwart the party that is inevitably going to kick off with LR.
Yes, certainly then, but I sense that the LR are just about doing enough as it stands, whether or not Harry Banks gets to second place. He's doing everything that he can, Garassi, but still does not draw near enough. I've done some calculations. I believe that Leonis are doing enough. As it stands right now, they are outscoring CGT without penalties by 18 points. That's more than what they needed. But of course, we still have half a lap to go. So much can change. What drama could unfold here towards the line here. As now we look to draw it to a conclusion. Amazing Hours dominant despite damage. He pulls clear. He's been on another level. Harry Banks still holding back Gerard. You sense the grip just fading from those medium tires to the line then. You sense that Harry Banks has this in hand, has P2, and now I believe now there's a party going on there. They can just draw it to the line. Amazing Hour coming through. He's dominated so many races, now cruising through for another one. Amazing Hour, I believe, wrapping up the championship now for Leonis.
I don't know that, though. Luke, in the comments section, 316 Leonis, CGT 276. We'll have to wait and see. Amazing Hour coming around the final corner, though. He is going to win out on track. He's going to slow across the line, taking the fireworks, and he wins out on track. Harry Banks is in second. He will finish that way in second. It's going to be another LR1-2. I think it's for the 4th time this season that this is going to pick up. Harry Banks now around the final corner. He's going to finish in second for the LR man. Really good performance. Garassi then in third. Benny is going to come across the line in 4th, and Needy got his teammate, in fact. Fenny across the line in 5th. Mickey across the line in 6th. Crazer across the line in 7th. And this is going to be very, very close indeed in terms of the standings. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Harry Banks, Crazer, smashes his way across the line with no front wing. Colin is going to finish in 8th for ESW. I've Brun Mike as well, going to finish in 12th. But Amazing Hour and Harry Banks, have they done enough out on track to try and win this championship? I'm not that sure, because I think these standings were actually taken a few laps before Harry got the move done on Benny for second. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, if my maths is correct, I don't think LR's done enough, because I think there's, 47 points available next round? I think it's 42 point gap, I think.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll have to just about work that out then. When things come through. Don't forget, we do have Sures inquiry, so I don't think we can say anything for certain just yet. Maybe I did jump the gun a little bit, but yes, that is Singapore in the books. 9 races down, just 1 remaining. So how is that going to unfold? We're running through the results in just a little bit.
Luke, in the comment section, has done some very quick maths. Not sure if it's right. It is not over yet, of course, because of the steward penalties that could be awaiting the guys out on track. Leonis, without penalties, 318, CGT 275. It's not enough. It's 43 points.
So, wow, that is indeed the margin then. So that means that, well, they have, as I express it, 9 fingers on the championship trophy.
The little pinky must be just hanging it back.
Yes, indeed. But there is your final classifications for the Singapore Grand Prix. It is indeed Amazing Hour from Harry Banks in P2, Garassi on the podium, Benny in P4. Good race for TTG. Behind that is Fenny, Mackie, Colin Mason, Cracer, Ruben Tevi, and you'll Saber running at the top 10. Hilo and Ivan Mike round out the finishers, and then it is Kazezo, Yosu, Hedi that were unable to see the checkered flag. That's Singapore in the books. Just 1 more to go at Brazil.
Fastest lap point as well, Kazizzle 36.7. I don't think that's counted because he did pick up a DNF out on track. So I think the fastest lap will go to Garassi. 37 flat. It adds an extra point to the TTG total. Mason now out on top. Harry Banks in second and Garassi in third. I've written Mike in the comments section. Make of this what you will. One of our drivers, of course, out on track. That was sweaty. Out on track. I'm not surprised, Mike. I'm not surprised. And silence has befallen the commentary box as we now get to the end here of EML Premier. Fantastic racing, of course, out on track, and I'm sure there'll be more action to come. Brazil in a month's time. Note this date in your calendar, for next month, in fact. I believe it's the 26th of May is the date we're going to be racing on EML Premier and EML League One, of course. But fantastic racing, of course, out on track from all of our teams. Only 8 teams represented tonight, but it still made up from really good racing, didn't it, Dan?
It certainly did out there. Can't wait to see how things are going to unfold at Brazil, but we do have to wait another month before things do get underway. But yes, that is it for the racing here tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed it yet again, James. Can't wait to get us back on track then. Still have a bit of a wait, but I'm sure it's going to be worth it when the championship wraps up in the next race and the last race into Lagos.
It will, and we will clarify the point standings, I'm sure, if we get them through within the next week or so. You'll see it on one of our streams, of course. Many streams hosted here on League Racing TV. TTML Division 2 and Division 3 to my right. Division 2, myself and Nova Bryn Mike taking you through the action from the sweaty driver's box into the commentary box tomorrow night. And in Division 3, of course, it is Aidan Carter and Conti taking you through the action for Division 3. Division 4, myself and Paco on Friday night. In Division 5, James Boyle and Pariah taking you through the action for Division 5 as well. But that is the end of tonight here in EML Premier. Dan, I'm going to come across to you. Your final thoughts on your overall drive of the day and team of the day as well.
Yeah, well, in terms of overall thoughts, that race was a little bit messy, I'm not going to lie, on some ends, but of course it is Singapore. I think we can expect that. All in all, great action yet again. Thoroughly enjoyed these last few races covering this championship. Rolling on to Brazil, I say. But in terms of the driver of the day, I mean, who else but Amazing Hour? I think Garazi is also a very strong shout, but of course there is still that incident he got involved in, and I do think it's going to have to be looked at. So I will go with Amazing Hour, but a very honourable.
As I believe Dan just cut out there. I think he was saying Amazing Hour was going to be his driver of the day out on track. Fantastic racing, though, out on track for EML Premier. And, of course, we will be back next month to take you through the action for the final round of the championship as we take you through here in Brazil. But as Dan's internet looks like it has gone, I've been James Head, and he's been Daniel Hoggard, not Daniel Edwards, Daniel Hoggard. Thank you so much for tuning in to EML Premier tonight, and we will see you next month.
You can break my bones, break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart. She fucking stay with him. Fucking stay with him. Break my bones, break all the promises, but leave me alone. Don't break my heart.
When I'm up through the night, I can't turn down the noise, tear all the words out of my mind about who I'm supposed to be. I start to believe I can't get it right. Remember the days I let slip away, they were simpler times. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I'll bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I'll bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I'll choose was wrong, and I'm still on my way closer each day to where I belong. I'm still rolling the dice, praying sometimes it don't last it long. I'm losing my faith, I'm walking away from what you knew all along. Mama told me before you leave, if there's only one thing you remember from me, child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I bet my life on your star, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon. I bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. I bet my life, you'll be dancing on the moon. Dancing on the moon. Child, when you're out on your own, a million miles from home, feeling the weight of the world on your shoulders. Child, don't forget who you are, don't lose your head or your heart. I bet my life on your stars, you'll be dancing, dancing on the moon.
Somehow I woke up out in Beverly, fucked up, smelling like that